Started. Shut the door.
We'll do it.
Thank you,
Sure.
Jason.
All right, should I flip it around? You can hear me. Yeah. there we go. All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for zooming in. Thanks for coming in person. In case you didn't see on the agenda, we were very fortunate to have the students at the community program bring us
I
coffee.
have to show you
And
because
this
they
nice
did an
setup.
amazing job. Now that's JC who did help put the whole thing together, but look how nice. From the sped students, fantastic, fantastic.
And you may remember that they presented last month and are looking for some support from the PTO to help purchase all the equipment that they need for putting this together. We may even invite them to do it next year for all our meetings. So we've got a few things to iron out first, but the coffee's delicious. So thank you. Thanks, JC, for helping connect us with
no
the
worries.
team there. And
Yeah.
it's really, really something special, and we're really happy about it. So we have our last in-person in the library meeting of the year, and we're excited to have Meghan joining us, our principal. She's going to do a bit of a recap from her first year here at Weston High School. There's been a lot of great stuff, and she'll go through that with us. Few things I'd love to highlight. We need volunteers for the 5K. We have a sign up genius that's gone out, and along with other communications about considering running the race, walking the race, bring your kids to the fun run, spreading the word, bring a friend, all that we've been sharing about. We'd love everybody to please join it. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year and supports all the great stuff that we do here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the great stuff we've done here in a few minutes too. But we definitely would love some volunteers. We've been reaching out to the community with sign up units. There's lots of fun stuff to do. I helped out with Nancy, who is one of our chair people this year, doing the manual timing, which seemed a bit daunting, but it was actually quite fun. So it's a great thing to sign up to do with a friend, and just have a look at the sign up genius when you get online. We'd love to have everybody come out and support it one way or another. We also have a food truck coming, the granola bar is coming, so there'll be an opportunity to get some sustenance for yourself and your family, whoever comes with you. So we're looking forward to that as well. It's like one of my favorite volunteer jobs actually was registering people and checking in for the race, giving out bibs. It's such a great vibe during the 5K. So please consider, I know we're very all tapped out on our volunteer hours and there's a lot going on, but we'd love if you come for our biggest fundraiser of the year and give a hand. How are we doing with timing? We're going to be joined today. Our student government liaison has 10 minutes. So at 10:45, we'll have a hard stop. Jaya will be joining us to give us an update from the student government. Kristana will be presenting the PTO board nominations. We have a few other business items to go through, reports, updates from our parent reps. And then we'll be introducing Meghan for her presentation today. And I had put together a little something summarizing what we've done this year. I put some slides together. Apologies, they're not the most polished slides, but they've got all the key points I wanted to highlight. This actually was inspired by some work that JC, our marketing chairperson in the 5K, pressed me and Jawad to do, and it's a wonderful thing because he rightly points out that, you know, to support a cause, it's good to know what you do. So Jawad and I went through, Jawad did most of it, an itemized list of everything we've done this year. And it's a long list, and I broke it down into categories afterwards, and I'll try and go through it quickly because it's a little dry, but it's actually amazing what we've done. So can the team at home see the slides? probably.
Can everybody see the slide online?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
So when we started the year, got our heads together about, what are our guiding principles for the PTO? What do we want to focus on? What are the principles that are going to get us to our goals in the best possible way? And we identified caring, connection, and community as those keywords. We want to be caring in our approach. We value our connection with our whole community. And yeah, those are the guiding principles. I'm ready for the next slide. So under the caring category, we've got a few photos of a number of things we've done, and I'm just going to read them real quick. If anybody wants to talk about any of them, definitely give us a shout out. We've had freshman welcome care packages, snack baskets for fall testing, snacks for the homecoming float teams, midterm care packages. That's also a fundraiser. Midterm hot cocoa, SAT day breakfast treats for freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. Support SPED Coffee Initiative, which is the community coffee program, which we talked about just a few minutes ago. Donuts and hot chocolate for Spirit for juniors in the winter. Final exam care packages, refreshing drinks and snacks between final exams. That's yet to be rolled out. That's happening. New commemorative pennants to be gifted to graduating seniors. Appreciating is one of our things we do real well. Staff appreciation this year, we had a kickoff for the new school year. We had a breakfast truck join us. Staff appreciation week, which is in progress right now. We've had I keep wanting to say granola bar, a trail mix bar, and a beautiful luncheon, which was on Wednesday. And today, the cat's out of the bag. I don't know if it's been a complete surprise for the staff, but ice cream emergency, which is a fantastic ice cream truck. The teachers can jump on and have sundaes built, ice cream sundaes. So it's a real fun end of the week for them. Paraprofessional Appreciation Day care packages were distributed to the
Wonderful.
paraprofessionals.
And a year lunch at staff appreciation winter dessert bar.
Yep.
That one.
Yep, I skipped two of them. End of year luncheon is still coming up. And staff appreciation winter dessert bar happened in December, right before winter break. It was a beautiful layout of desserts and coffee, and it was great. Paraprofessional Appreciation Day care packages, that was done a few weeks back. School security appreciation care packages, librarians appreciation care packages, and staff end of year luncheon. We got that twice, so it's only happening once.
That's because we want everybody to come.
Yeah. Helping, the volunteers and the PTO do a lot of hands-on helping. This may not even be the whole list. But ticket selling for homecoming dance, parent volunteers decorating the gym for homecoming, volunteer support for the sale of prom tickets, planning and facilitating the PGE. These are all things that our volunteers do, unpaid work, and it's tremendous help, and makes all the things that you can't see in black and white come together. As far as the numbers, there's no value you can really put on our volunteer time, and that also ties into the connection when we've got everybody in person working together. It really helps us connect with our community. Fundraising, election day bake sale for teacher appreciation, Memorial Day 5K, which has the big graphic at the corner, a little bit cut off there. Annual online pie sale, the SAT, ACT prep courses, Brooks fundraiser, and the 2023 senior lawn signs. These are some of the things that have gone on, that not only are they fundraisers, they're also taking a lot of volunteer time. Again, why I was reaching out for everybody to please join in with the 5K sign up genius, because it's a lot of hours, and our team, JC, Christina, Nancy, and Jonna have have done a tremendous job and have committed a lot of their personal time to this. Connecting. One thing I was really delighted about was the bringing back of monthly meetings in person with refreshments. With or without the refreshments, I was absolutely delighted to be able to come back to the building here. Not only are we in person, we're offering the hybrid Zoom in option. Very many thanks to Jawad, our VP, who is the master of Zoom ceremonies. And has made that all come together for us with some very appreciated help from Zach from the IT department at the high school here. He's been a great help and helps us get this Zoom launched every month. Other connecting things that we've done include the back to school night parent social at Milestone. A very simple get together, but it was fantastic after 2 years to actually see so many faces and meet new people. Just how everybody came on up after the back to school night here at the high school. It was great. Freshman dad social coordinated by Ann Kyle and the freshman parent reps, which was again a wonderful thing to get started for our freshmen to get to know each other. Freshman mom's coffee social as well. Actually, and your husband coordinated the dad's one? I
The
don't know.
dad's, if he hosted it.
Okay.
I coordinated.
Okay.
He went.
He went.
I did all.
We hosted our pilot coffee and conversation first came with Meghan Ward and the VP, other principals at the high school. Followed up in January with one with our superintendent, Lisa Barbiero. And we'd like to work that into our program for next year to have them regularly scheduled. They were piloted this year and they went well. And there's nothing quite like an in-person meeting where people have some time to have a coffee and talk and connect before getting down to business. Graduation refreshments, that's something that's coming down the road. Graduation. We'll be setting up a little something for the families after graduation. To cool off and refresh after the ceremony. Giving, lots of gifts to the school have made their way on campus this year. The new drafting tables were from last year, however, they arrived just the very beginning of the school year, so that was a wonderful addition to Weston High School, gifted by the high school PTO. We gave $500 to the Student Government Association for decorating supplies for the homecoming, which was the first homecoming dance the student government put together in, I think, over 15 years. So it was a huge lift and a great event for them. We're happy to support that. We also supported posters for the high school mindfulness initiative, led by Walt Durand, from the English department. He presented a few months back and talked about mindfulness. It was 2 meetings ago. TV equipment for PE learning and CPR training, which are actively in place. I've heard my own kids talking about the TV and the PE cart for the demonstrations. School spirit vinyls for the entrance doors, which you can see in the photo above. Hopefully most of you have seen them passing by. Very well received. I've had reach outs from the other schools wanting to know how did we do that, how much it was. It's making a really nice impression and adding to the spirit of the high school. Quarterly contribution to the principal's discretionary fund, and I'm sure there's lots more we've done, but these are a few highlights for today's purposes. I'm ready for another slide. Oh, there's that it.
That's it.
All right, so try to kind of get through it really quickly. It's all legal ground laws.
It's to everybody.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
All right, yeah, let's all reach to our right.
Clap here and there, but thank you, everybody who's zooming and watching, and anybody who watches it later.
Look at Casey with a little hand.
We could not do any of this without each and every volunteer, even each and every member. Our membership dues make all this happen, give us the budget to be able to have a Zoom account, get some coffee in and do all the things we do. If those are funded in our operating account, all those things. So our website fees, all of that comes from our membership. So thank you for those who've signed up. Thank you for those who've signed up and taken on more. It's truly appreciated. So thank you guys. So I think we'll get on to business if everybody's ready. Christina, are you ready to jump into the presentation of the 2023-2024 board? Sorry, if you're not, we can.
Yes, no, I'm fine, I'm
All
fine.
right.
I'm a good multitasker. First of all, I want to thank my nominating committee members who did an amazing job. And let me I proudly present, I should say, our board for 23-24. So I'm going to go down the list and then I'll open it up for any questions or comments, and then I will ask for a vote. So running down the list, President Christine Harris, Vice President Meghan Burns, Secretary Kayati Patel, Treasurer Mona Sharma, Board of Ed Rep is Dawn Bradbury. We do have an opening. I would like to mark it for our communications and website chair position. Philanthropy is Liv Berardinelli. Past president will be Christine Harris, so she'll be in both of those positions. Yes, multitasking. You'll be talking to yourself.
Yes. I already have that.
Our 12th grade class reps are Carleen Nussbaum, Christine Harris, Casey Saucy, who I think is online, Lauren Carter. Our 11th grade class reps, Jawad Masters, Megan Burns, Carrie Schaefer, and Allison Lisbon. Our 10th grade class reps, Tammy Roberts, Jocelyn Crow, Katie Fitzmaurice, Jen Cross, sorry about that. And our incoming 9th grade class reps, Maria Nordstrom, Karen Hine, Karen Titulo, I always pronounce that wrong, my apologies, and Lauren Axelrod. For the various chair positions that follow, our BRIC fundraiser is going to be co-chaired by Sherry Lowe and Min Santandrea. Bylaws, Amy Meyerson has agreed to do that again, as has Stephanie Morris for the college test prep courses, which has been a very successful fundraiser for the PTO. The election day bake sale will be filled by, Allison Martin. Then we do have a few open positions, hospitality, which is a new position, which includes things like today. The membership chair position is open. We are in the throes of the 5K race, so we haven't focused as much on filling those for next year, so those are open. New family liaison is Rebecca Solano. The online bake sale will be a combination of Julia Brennan and Carrie Benziv. JC has agreed to be our SPED liaison again, and staff appreciation will be Tammy Roberts and Jen Atsumi. So I'm very happy with this slate to present to everybody. I think you'll be in really good hands next year.
In fantastic hands.
Yeah. So with that, do we have any questions or additional comments? Okay, then I'd like to make a motion to approve the Weston High School PTO 2023-24 board as presented. JC, do I have a second? Oh, so many seconds down there. We can choose from Rebecca, Nancy, and Carly. Okay. Those that approve?
Okay. 6 to 6 online, so good. Thank you.
Great. I want to thank everybody again. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you very much to Kristana. Kristana is her last child is graduating, and this is her last role at the high school PTO. She's doing an awful lot. So thank you very much, and for putting us in such good hands, a good shape for next year. And the years ahead. So thank you for your
Thank you very
time and commitment to our PTO. Thank you. Alrighty. We, Kiati is not able to join us today for the minutes from the last meeting for approval. So we're going to ask Mona if she's ready to present the financials. Our secretary. I'm sorry, our treasurer.
Let me share.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, John.
Just give me a second. Share screen. Screen. One second. Okay. I had it open. Let me just pull it up again. Thank you. I accidentally closed it right now.
While we're waiting, Christine, isn't there a vote for the Senior Parent Volunteer of the Year award at this point?
That's handled by our philanthropy chairperson, and they coordinate that.
Okay.
So that isn't happening at today's meeting.
Okay.
But yeah,
I thought it was around this time.
is it normally on the, has it been on the?
I don't
No,
know
you
if it
don't.
was at this.
No, it's I'm trying to remember, but Casey would be coordinating it, and then they talk about it at the executive committee
Okay,
meeting
okay,
first.
all right.
And depending, sometimes it's handled offline.
Yeah,
With
it's
the
not a-
executive
it's not a
team,
vote.
because
Okay.
some of the last parents are on the executive team, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, so
Last
they
year.
excuse
remember
themselves
that,
from
yeah.
that discussion.
Yeah.
Yep,
And then it's just announced at the luncheon, so it's kind of a,
Yes.
right.
got it.
Yeah.
And it's really nice.
Okay. Thank you, Joanne. Okay, so for the month of March, in the operating account, all that happened in that month is that we received some interest in the amount of 5 cents. Exciting times.
That's a good win.
That left us with a balance of $6,084.71. Moving on to our philanthropy account, had some more action there. We received some money for the SAT course in the amount of $582.60. We received $1,746 for the class of 2023 donations, and interest in the amount of $1.07. We also made payments for our SAT course instructors totaling $2,153. We also paid $200 for our high school company, our Weston High School company, the theater ad for the playbill. And then we made payments for the class of 25-26 spirit expenses for $1,128.50. Furthermore, we had payments for the road race website registration for $220.89. And an add-on to the bolster philanthropy request for the bolster pillows of $189.80. That left us with a balance of $59,493, of which $17,155 has been allocated, leaving us with a balance of $42,339 at the end of March. Any questions?
So we
Yes.
have $274 left in our class fund.
You have for 20, yes, that's $274, but that doesn't include the water
Okay.
that, yes, that doesn't include the water that
Megan.
Megan had purchased, because that was in April,
Okay.
expense. It just
Okay.
came through in April.
And how much?
That was about $45.
Oh, total,
So, yeah, so I think you're left with 175 around there.
175.
Yes, but I can give you a more exact number.
Okay.
but Yeah, it's a long, it's $50 less than that, so you're right there.
And Mona, I think you're missing those, the sped, we have some money in here, I don't see it on the list. It was like 250.
Yeah.
I know, it's right here.
Oh, is it?
It's available.
Oh, sorry, I can't see it.
down below. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Lots of,
Good, okay, I'm
yeah,
gonna,
it's
I'm
in
gonna
this
use that.
box right at the bottom.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna use it.
So you, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know. Any other questions? All right, can I get a motion to approve our March financials, please? Christine, thank you. May I get a second? JC, thank you. We'll do the online vote and all in favor here? Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Very good, John.
Do you want me to pull the phone for everyone too? I think that's, for some reason I had two separate online.
Oh, yeah, I had actually run through the philanthropy.
Yeah, and you went through the philanthropy
Yes,
too, so let me
yes.
just pull that up just for a
Okay,
second, just to
okay.
do things, you know, just to do it. Oh, I launched the other one and now this one says it's done, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Usually one vote, so that's
Yeah,
perfect.
I know.
Yeah,
That's strange, that's, sorry about that.
no, you're fine.
Okay.
Thanks, Mona.
Thank you, Mona. Thank you. Thanks for keeping it all clear and concise,
Yes.
organized for us,
The
and keeping us all on
numbers.
track with our budget.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Um. Next on our agenda is our BOE rep, Andrew Chi. I'm not sure if he's said what time he's joining, so we're gonna move on. Actually, Livia was on next for our communications chairperson. She's not able to join us in person. I don't know if she was able to join online. No. So if JC, if you're all right with your update,
Yeah,
I'd be
sure.
delighted if you could
No, thank you.
jump in.
So as Christine said, the big thing that's been happening in the sped or in the community classes, they've got this coffee cup idea and it's been got up and running. So they're now serving coffee once a week and they're learning skills, important skills like managing money, getting budgets. They're starting to create their pricing so that they can break even and create a small profit. Yesterday, they served 45 teachers here, so they're doing it once a week
That's great.
out here.
That's great.
And they have a space, which I believe is kind of near the cafeteria. I haven't been to it yet, but I know that they have a space out here.
Isn't it where the concession stand is?
I believe, no, it's, I don't know. I mean, he
It's
told me,
closer,
but he
yeah,
was
okay.
kind of confused as to where it was when I asked my son. So yeah, that's, one of the big things that we've been able to get off the ground and actually get going this year. Last week was the Unified Sports Summit for Southwest, and we were represented. A couple of students won their awards, and it was presented up in Danbury. So I was up in Danbury, so that was a good day. And then recapping 2023. So some of the things that we've tried to do this year. One of the biggest things that I wanted to do as part of the SPED liaison was to connect families, because I think as a parent of a kid who has an IEP, you kind of feel alone and you're not sure, because it's very confusing navigating the school system, navigating, what's going to happen to your kid when they leave school. So one of the biggest things we've done is we've been able to create a community. We have 120 something parents connected through Facebook, but I also have a Google group for just the high school. And we try and share updates, to talk about where things are going, you know, our kids, and just kind of sharing information, because it's a minefield out there when you have a kid, you know, trying to figure out what's next after high school. So one of the biggest things was getting that across the district and within the high school a little bit more formalized. We also did an education program this year, so we've run several webinars, typically on a 4 to 6 week cycle. And we've covered such topics as, you know, I'm just navigating and understanding your IEP and 504s, understanding what happens when your kid transitions. So there was a whole, you know, webinar on transition, legal considerations. So, you know, what things you need to do to think about when your kid is turning 18. Because when you have a neurotypical kid, they typically take ownership of themselves at 18. But when you have a kid with special needs, you need to figure out, like, what are the things I need to do in order to make sure that they are taken care of once they hit 18. So that was one of the things we did. And we've done various workshops that have been going on across the district. So with the middle school and the elementary school to basically help parents navigate the IEP 504. And a couple of moms have been working and hosting, you know, reviewing people's IEPs. So that's been ongoing. I think there's one coming up next week as well. And then the other thing was basically connecting with the district again. It's been a couple of years where it was kind of contentious with the parents. And we feel, at least now, that we have a dialogue with the district. Lisa's been involved, Tracy Edwards has been involved. And they've hosted I think 3 webinars or 3 meetings that we had over at the middle school this year, just basically educating parents, explaining how processes work, what to do when you have, you know, disagreements with the way that your IEPs or your 504s has been going. So I think that's been, you know, we've had a busy year, but I want to continue that next year and keep growing our network, because I think, you know, it's important, because a lot of parents, especially when you find that your kids, you know, not doing as well as you expect them to do in school, it's good to know that there are other people out there, and, you know, we're willing to share our learnings, because, you know, we've been ahead of you, and if anything, someone was able to tell us these things 5, 6 years ago, it would have made it, you know, made it a little bit easier. So yeah, that's what we've been doing in SPED this year, and yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. I love hearing about all the things you've done, and just again, connecting people, and it's all difference, the human connections, people being able to meet in person, and you know, just talking to one another sometimes helps demystify experiences, like going through the IEPs, the 504s, and you know, as you highlighted it, when families are in need of those accommodations, it can be quite isolating.
Yeah.
And to have built that community is really something special. And you should be really proud for what you've done for your community. I'm really happy.
And thanks for the
as part of
support from the
community.
you know, because
Yeah.
I think it's been great having that support from everyone here. So
Yeah, it's a pleasure, and I'm really happy about the coffee, especially now. It's just a
Please
nice
try some
thing.
coffee.
It's really nice to be able to support those initiatives, and it just brings a wonderful vibe to our meetings, and it's great.
Thank
And
you.
the coffee's really good. So I don't have a report to share right now from the seniors. I don't know if Christina is happy to, do you have anything you can report on for what's going on for the senior class?
Well, the only thing I would say is today is the last day of classes. So that's a big deal for them. Yeah, they start their internships on Monday. I know the senior class reps are very busy with details on the PGE, which, as everybody knows, happens right after graduation that night. And then there are a couple of, you know, events for the seniors. They will have their Six Flags Day, June 7th. So that's coming up. It's just a really exciting time. The kids have decided where they're going, if they're going somewhere. As we know, not every child decides to go up to college, so, but their post-high school plans have been made, and yeah, it's really exciting.
For families who haven't been there yet, can you talk about how the internship process works for students?
Sure, so
Sorry to put you on the spot.
no,
just,
no, that's fine. It's not a very complicated process. The students need to find some type of job that they will do between now and graduation. So it's about 5 weeks. It could really vary to, I know one student who's going to work at O'Neill's restaurant down in Norwalk. My son is going to work at a lacrosse store. But other kids, do something more corporate like, or more art related, maybe for, an interior design or something. That they do have to get them approved. So there's a form that they have to fill out and get it approved from, I don't remember if it's their guidance counselor or their advisory teacher. But they can't just, take 5 weeks off. There's something, that they need to do.
Do they present after, I thought last year I heard something about them presenting something back to the school, their experience.
So I know that they did that in my daughter's year in 2020, because they could have either had an internship or they could have done a project, and she did have to present her project. So I'm actually unclear about whether or not they
This
have
year.
to go back and do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
If I get another question that just came up
Oh.
about that, but the whole, when do they have to start putting in the applications? Just out of curiosity, like, is it in January or is it?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I
sure.
think it's more like March, like at the end of, I think they have to submit their forms in March.
I think it's tied to the portrait of the graduate, because when they present their portrait of a graduate, by then they're talking about their internship and their plans for it.
Thank you. Since my son didn't tell me anything, thank you. I learned from someone else where he was working, so.
That's normal.
Yeah, I would say that's, in my house, yeah. Anyway.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
It's nice to have a little
History.
parent history on how some of these things go. My oldest is a junior, and we're just starting
Yeah.
that part of the journey. So class rep reports. Next up, our junior rep in the house, Carly. Are you okay doing
Yeah, sure.
An
So
update?
our juniors have also been really busy, although I don't know if they're as excited. Many of them were busy with that, and for the first time, a lot of them signed up for prom and are going, and we've heard. It's actually been nice. I feel like our class is reaching out a little bit more and, talking to each other if we're planning these prom things, and there's lots of questions we get on all sides. Our juniors are like a little, I don't know, they had a different experience coming into the high school in COVID, and they're a little slower in some ways maybe, but a lot of them did sign up and are going and notice and excited about it. So that's great. We are starting to work on our senior signs, and that's the biggest fundraiser for the class apparently. And we have a class of 2024 parent who's an awesome graphic designer who will be signing it for us. So we're very lucky to have that. And we are trying to get some volunteers for the PGE. So any junior parents are there and want to stay up all night with me. So we definitely need people and dads and siblings who are over 21, like anyone who wants to come and bring your Red Bull and
Not sleep. And enjoy.
and apparently it's really fun. I have never done this before, but I'm really told that it goes by really quickly, and it's a really nice fun thing to be a part of. So I will be there, and hopefully some other people will be with me. And we are also, I guess, working on these refreshments, which should
Yes.
be good for graduation.
Yes. Thank you so much, Carly. We now have our sophomore rep.
She's,
Joanne, are you okay or?
No,
are you-
Megan's there. Megan, do you want to, my dear, or?
Hi, sorry I can't be there.
No,
Can you
it's,
hear me?
yeah,
Fabulous. So updates for sophomores. We are working on the final care packages. We've solidified all of our items for the packages. So I think we're at the point now where we're working on the marketing and putting together the online ordering system. So I know Carrie Jawad and I have been working on that for the past week, trying to finalize all that. Hopefully push that out soon, as you know, because school's almost over. And we just recently put out communication about the Evergreen dance for sophomores and freshmen. I'm trying to think. I think that's it. Jawad, can you think of anything else?
yeah, I think that's it. The care packages in Evergreen is what we've been up to. Yep, thanks, Megan.
Thanks.
Okay, so before we jump to Ann Kyle, I'm just noting that our SGA rep, Jaya Sharma has arrived and she's got a 10-minute window to join us. So wondering if you just segue to her. And Jaya, welcome. Thank you so much. It's lovely to have you this morning. And
yeah, so as the years kind of starts to wind down, SJ is kind of also reaching the end of the year. I know at our last meeting, we talked maybe about the possibility of doing another pep rally, but our last one was Color Clash and it was pretty successful. So we're also deciding if we just kind of want to end on a high note. But the focus recently has just been each group doing their own community service initiative. I know for sophomores, we did the Star Walk last weekend. It was a really great event. And it was, we just kind of assisted helping set up and clean up the tables and stuff. It was a lot of fun. And I know, I believe the seniors might have done person to person in Norwalk and things like that, but I'm not sure. So every grade group has just kind of been working on their community service and their initiatives. But again, as the year's winding down, SG is kind of gearing up for elections, which are one of
particular AP exam. So just apologize and go through the day as normal. We'll have them back on for the lunch block. Thank you.
What did he say he's gonna turn on?
turn off
The
the
bells,
bells.
there's AP,
Exactly.
there's AP exams going on.
Sorry,
So
Jay.
much going on.
Just when you come, you get that interruption.
But that's pretty much it. I think right now our focus is mostly on like transitioning definitely the juniors to becoming like the seniors of SJ next year. And then also just getting ready for elections.
That's great. Thank you.
What's the SGA going to do with the funds from the homecoming dance?
I'm not sure. I know that I believe all the funds go like just into the SJ budget, and then I think those are like split into grade groups and like allotted for each, but I can like check and get back to you like a concrete answer.
Yeah, because I know my next thing is some of the moms want to do something for the ninth graders at the end of school, like a pizza party or something. I was just wondering
Okay,
if SJ is planning to do anything for funds like that.
not that I know of, but I can definitely ask the advisors and like clarify that.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jaya. Really nice to have you. Have a great
Thank
rest of the
you.
Thank you.
day.
Thank
Great
you.
weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jaya.
Bye.
So thanks for hanging on. We'd love to hear your freshman parent rep update.
Sure. So we had mom's coffee at Old Mill Market. There were about 8 people there, but it was good and they had a really nice conversation. And just like I mentioned, some of the moms were saying it'd be nice to have something for the ninth graders at the end of the year, right after school, maybe pizza or something, just to say we made it through the first year. So we need to I need to, I guess, reach out to the SGA reps to see if that's something that they could work on. Also, Tammy Roberts is working on the Memorial Day Fair ice cream sales. The freshmen sell ice cream at the Memorial Day Fair. It's mainly coordinated by the SGA, but she's doing a lot of work to help them out. She's getting the permit to sell the ice cream, working on recruiting adult volunteers. There's going to be a sign up that's probably going to go out in the newsletter for adults to help out, because there has to be an adult there at every time that kids are volunteering. She's finalizing and confirming booth setups with the MDF chairs. She's taking care of setting up the booth on Friday with the volunteers. She's bringing down the freezer from the PTO closet. She's taking care of the purchases for sales, getting the startup funds, and closing booth on Monday. And she's going to be there most of the weekend. So she's doing a lot of work with that. And then I know Sonia's there. I don't know if she wanted to say anything about Evergreen.
Yeah, I was just texting her to see if she would note that. It'd be lovely to have a chat about it. Sonia, are you there?
I am. My phone is on Do Not Disturb, so I didn't see a text. So
Do not disturb for the PTO meeting.
yeah, no, and I missed a chunk of the meeting. I had to take a phone call, but so Evergreen is on June 3rd. We have Jennifer Bernheim and Jenny Riley are the co-chairs this year. And this is, so just to quickly clarify, I know I'm preaching to the choir here a bit, but Evergreen is it's a dance traditionally that's been for 9th and 10th graders in Weston who reside in Weston, so they can attend Weston public schools or private schools. The question came up, and Anne, thank you for reaching out on that, but we are limiting it to Weston residents, kids who are Weston residents, and it is meant to be a fun evening for the underclassmen. That just a night of music and dancing. There's a DJ. We have a return DJ from last year. He was fantastic. And just, you know, a little semi-formal attire, nothing overboard. I think the kids should be comfortable, but a chance to dress up and have fun and understand that you can have fun without necessarily including drinking or other substances in the event. It is the largest fundraiser for ADAP, which is the Alcohol and Drug Awareness Program of Weston. It is the local prevention council in town. I have stepped into the role as president now for, it's not even, I would say 3 years, the last 3 years. So this is something where the proceeds from the dance, the net proceeds help fund the programming that we bring to the families and kids in town. So in the fall, ADAP sponsored Matt Bellis, who was a speaker who came in November and did assemblies for middle school and high school kids. We just had our Rising Freshman Forum last week for current 8th graders. And it's just, you know, the dance is a fun dance, but it's also a way to raise funds to help continue to bring the resources and programming to families in town. So thank you, PTO, for all of your help promoting the dance and hopefully getting the numbers up so that kids will come out and dance. Sophomores especially. I've heard that sophomores aren't really interested in going. I don't know if that's accurate intel or not, but if we get the sophomore class to participate, that would be great.
Great. I was working with Sonia on putting some notes in the next newsletter just to debunk some of the myths that you don't have to have freshmen asking sophomores. You can go alone.
You can go with friends.
Go with a group.
Yeah, let's
Friends. You know, our son went last year just with a group of friends.
So did ours.
So really, it's not a dates required situation. It used to be that way many years ago, but you know, ADAP has been around for 40 years. We just found out. So I don't know how long Evergreen has been in place, but quite some time. Over a decade for sure, because our oldest went and he's 25 now. So
Yeah, no, I think it's over 25 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it, you know, we adapt. You roll with the times.
Mhm.
Roll with the times. It's not the same now as it used to be, for sure. So thank you again.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thanks.
Thanks so much. On the talk of dances, I think this is a common theme we're hearing about going with a date and the pressure to attend. I think we're hearing a little bit of that with some prom questions with the junior class at least. Do we need a date? And I think this current group of students who kind of started their high school careers in pandemic lockdown phase and masks and everything are particularly affected even more so than in the past. Well, do I really want to go? Do I need a date? Do I need to go in a group? It's just sort of changed everything. But with that being said, I feel that in Weston, I've always heard that people don't have to go with a date to prom, to Evergreen, whatever the function is. I remember when my girls were very little, we had a babysitter who's a junior or senior in high school, and she was talking about prom, and I said, "Oh, tell me about it. Does everybody go with a date?" And she kind of explained, like, a lot of people don't go with a date; they go by themselves or with a group of friends. And kind of noting that people have known each other since kindergarten, and it was just sort of like a group fun time, not so fixed on bringing a date, sort of like we have, some of us remember the whole 80s kind of vibe, everybody, maybe 90s, I don't know what it was like in the 90s, but bring a date, they would do formal boards announcing who was going with who, and it's not like that anymore. I was wondering, do we have anybody who's got kids older who are seniors, or, and can you talk about the whole, your experiences, Christina, as far as what you've seen through the years? Do kids go with dates all the time? Just-
So I would say it varies. To Sonia's point about Evergreen, the tradition, so my daughter went when she was a freshman, so that's like 7 years ago. And the tradition of Evergreen was that the freshmen asked the sophomores, and the philosophy was it's a way for the freshmen to get to know other people in the school. Some people really don't like that, they felt uncomfortable with it, but it stuck around for a while. And I would say when I chaired that year and the year after, that's when we really started to try to change that. I wouldn't say that we were successful when I chaired, but I think now we're at a point where I do think people are more comfortable to say, and we're trying to change that tradition, right? We're trying to get rid of that, to have people just go and go and have fun. I think for prom, I think it's a lot looser. I don't think people feel that they have to go with the date. That's just my experience. A lot of people do go as like groups, and then they like match up with people, but it's other people just go as a group, you know, a group of girls, group of guys, and they go and have fun. So I think it's shifted in my observations over the last 7 years. I think people should feel that they just can go.
I think people feel like they should just go. We're actually hearing that the group thing is a little stressful for people too, because not everyone has a group of friends, and that's almost been sort of harder. And then there are some people who now like have found a date, and that's been great, because then you have like one other person to go with. And I did ticket sales, and there were definitely like girls going together with dates, and you know, all different kinds of couples, which I think is great. But this like group mentality, which I think is great, and the spirit is that everyone should go. There are some people who are like, you know, I don't really have a group, and who am I going to be with before? And the picture thing is stressful. So trying to find a way to really just have everyone go and meet up and go. And I think in the future, if we can maybe plan something like even transportation, if it is going to be far away, maybe there are some buses that go from the school that you could just like sign up for individually and go. I think would alleviate a lot of the stressors and problems.
Yeah, we did do that. We did do a bus thing in the past. What I have found recently is that these groups, you know, take care of their own transportation. However, I do remember, and Sonia, I don't know if you remember this, we were able to, 1 year get a school bus, and we charged, I say $25, but any proceeds we ended up giving to ADAP. So that's a possibility too. I actually don't like the fact that some of our students or their parents, I'm just going to say this out loud, don't want their kids to have to go on a school bus to prom. So, there's that.
Can I add to that comment? So, and this sort of predates my active involvement, but the prom buses was a fundraiser for ADAP. Board members would actually help with the checking in of the kids. And I do think you're right on the price. It was pretty nominal. It was 25. There was some issue that came up, and I don't know the details with the bus transportation company. And that sort of contributed to why that ended, as well as just lacking the capacity to do it. The other thing I wanted to go back to with the whole idea of proms and dates, too late for this year, but maybe it's a way that, you have your SGA student coming in. If that should come from the students, they can drive that shift. If there's a movement, or if there's a desire to have it be less date focused, even though I think it's always going to be a piece of prom as a rite of passage. But if that's what the students want, then they should really be the ones to try to create that change. It's for them. The event is for them. I mean, the parents love the pictures, but it's really for the kids.
I think the reality of what I'm hearing from some junior parents is that that's great, and that's how it should be. And of course, it should be student led. There are kids who are like, I want to go. I've never done anything like this before. And, I'm a little nervous, and that is not the kid that's going to step up and say, can I join you? Can I, and I know as parents, we're not supposed to do like so much for them, but I'm really talking about like a large group of kids who are not in a group together, like they're like disparate, but they want to go and try something new. And they're not in SGA, and they don't have a ton of friends, but they're like, if they're getting to the end of my high school career and I want to try something, and how can we get those kids to go and feel good about it and involved? And I think we did get some to sign up and go now, and it happened in various ways. But if there could be a way that would help maybe set something up that you just sign up for some transportation from the beginning, where you're all going from the same place as an option, and pay for it, or something where the student actually doesn't have to navigate finding a group to go with when they don't feel like they unfortunately have a group of friends.
Or the intimidation of walking.
Yeah, walking in alone, not just
drop you off
be.
in your arms.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't have any flashbacks.
There's been some financing discussion.
And Carly, I would just say, I hear all of that, and it's, I don't know how it was in years past, but I do feel that this group of kids who are not necessarily connected and want to start trying things is really amplified because of the pandemic. I mean, the class of 2024, as you well know, I mean, our kids started 9th grade in masks, going to school every other day, 6 feet apart from one another, Zooming half the time, having finished 8th grade at home, fully locked down, the most bizarre phenomenon you can think there. And most of these kids went through puberty in lockdown.
Yeah.
I think any of the kids, whatever grade they're in, transitioning, whether it was lower schools to middle school to high school to college, I think it really impacted those kids in 2020 and those transition years the most. And it's kind of easy to forget, because things seem normal again, but I think there's been a ripple effect on especially that grade. And I think it's less so with the lower grades, the class of 2025, but
do we know how many of the juniors are not going? I mean, I know a sizable group of boys who were just not going. And
Really?
they just didn't want to go. And I do think it is related to those issues of just not having that, in the, their, earlier years in high school. the socialization, but it wasn't even like, you know, there weren't specific reasons. It was just like, we all don't want to go. And I don't know if there's always gonna be a group, you know, any year, regardless if there was.
I
a
think
pandemic.
I think you will have that every year where there's just people that that's just not of interest to them to go.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it just seems strange, because when you know that if they went, they would have fun. But.
Right, and
you know,
you're,
there's just the resistance. that-
there's probably some kids who historically were very social
Yeah.
pre-pandemic. I would
Definitely.
imagine, from things I've heard from various people, that there are kids who were previously so very social and would have gone, enjoyed every single event, are
Yeah.
just not that into it now. And it's nothing you can actually pinpoint a specific reason why. And I think as parents, a lot of us are suspecting it's the post-pandemic effect. So I think Carly's brought up a great idea with the buses, or something.
If you could get one bus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I think it is, just like, we'll leave from the school. I'm like, really? I'm like, do I do it from my house? Like, I don't, you're just like for people.
Right,
gather,
it used to,
like,
it left
just
from
for people
school.
To just sign up
Yeah.
and go from the school, and we could even like, you know, have something nice there at the school for them if they wanted.
Right.
Pictures or not, like, I don't know about all that, but I think something that could just make it easy for people to know they're not gonna like go in alone, to John's point, and not, you know, somewhere to go. It just makes it a little easier to handle the whole piece of it. I don't know if they need transportation home, you know, I just think it's getting there.
Have the parents pick them up, have the bus drop them off.
Yeah, once you eat, that's not the problem, it's the intimidation.
But I agree with you, because like my son is the only one out of the spec, but he's a junior and he was said the same, exactly what he's not one who's gonna go and say, you know, advocate for, you know, trying to drive a change, but
No, it's too
but
hard for, like.
he wants to go, he wants to experience something, and you know, we figured it out to get him there, but just like you're saying, like, the quiet kids are not the ones that are gonna be pushing to change things, because
And
they
we've
get,
heard that
yeah.
really a lot, you know, that, you know, because the class advisors tried to encourage us to make it student led, and that's not what's gonna happen with this
Well,
group.
this would be a good thing to talk about with Megan when she comes in to see, you know, what ideas she has for next year related to how the school and the SGA, because even if what I'm thinking about with the SGA is just for them to be more open advocates and supporting
For the other kids.
for all the kids to,
Right.
you know, even if they're going in groups, if they're going with dates, like that's irrelevant. It's the messaging that comes
Yes.
from them
Yes.
in support of any of these events, whether it's Evergreen or it's prom.
Yeah,
That's kind of where my head was going.
And that coming down from the school and the school advisors to guide them. It's a great opportunity for them to learn how to try to market for inclusion, think out of the box for the other groups of kids that are not the general group of kids, you know, and it's a good opportunity for those students that are in that leadership position to be faced with these questions and try to find solutions with the support of the school, with support of us, you know, the parents, class reps, everything. So it's a really good point.
Yeah, she has, and I'm sure she'll talk more about it, but she has a program called Link Crew. And
Mhm.
it's, and I think that will be
Yeah,
very, very
she's talked about
helpful
that. Yeah.
with it.
However, that teen crew is in particular for the upperclassmen to help the
Freshmen.
freshmen
Yeah.
You took a link
transition.
crew?
Link
Link
crew,
crew.
yes, sorry, link crew, right.
So I was like, I thought I missed one of the crews. I'm like,
Link crew, you're right. But yeah, in that same spirit, how to replicate
the
that age
existing-
appropriate and
Yeah.
class appropriate and event appropriate, right? Thinking of how can you hold the other kids' hands.
And
Right.
whatever they did with the homecoming dance worked. With the students, leading students,
You're
because
right.
they just come, and I mean, I remember hearing or somebody telling me that one of the reps got on the. Announcement and said, what are you gonna do? Sit home and watch videos all in?
That's great.
You know, get out there, go by yourself, you know, that's what they need to do.
Yeah, and when it's kid to kid, obviously, it's
Right.
more relevant to
Right.
them.
Along the lines of the post-pandemic trickle effect. I got an email or a memo, I think it went to everybody, about an initiative in the high school for therapy coming in, just, I don't know, like, you could say, is this something that you're
Yeah, I saw
interested
that.
in? But it didn't sound like it actually was happening yet, it seemed.
It
like
was
they were
a
getting more-
survey.
It was a
A
survey.
survey?
It was a survey.
What is that? Does anyone know what that is, or?
She's here.
So, yeah, I'd rather not put it in my words. I'd rather, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was from Tracy.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
What's
Yeah, but
going
that
on
was-
today?
Yeah,
It was a survey that I was seeing.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought was-
Part of it is
Interest level.
the town, right, that was an interest limit, but the town has an arrangement now with Positive Directions, so that
Mhm.
people, if they are interested in getting mental health services, this connection now with Positive Directions will expedite that. I don't know if anyone's tried to get any mental health services out there, but a lot of therapists are not taking patients. I mean, the demand is so high. So this connection that we have, and I think Westport's doing it too. It's not just Weston, but Positive Directions is in Westport. Anyway, that is now in place between the town. It's not a district thing, it's a town thing.
Could I just quickly add on to that, Christiana's comment? It is the 3 Ws that have contracted. It's CAP and it is out of social services. So any parents or who are interested should reach out to Allison Lisbon, who is our Director of Social Services. And she's spearheading that, but that is in place. That is in place. So thanks.
Sonia, do you know, is there, I know the emails went out about that, I don't have my laptop in front of me. Is there a home with that information on the social services website?
You know, I don't know that. I don't know if it's actually live on the town website. But I know Allison, it is in place. And under the terms, I think each town is allowed a certain number of referrals each week.
Yeah,
Intake happens at Positive Directions. But she would really be the one to
Yeah.
answer questions.
I'll
regarding
circle back and ask and look to put that in our newsletter. Yeah. Just to highlight an access point for this
Just so
information.
it's clear that what I was referring to was the interest level. It sounded like the mental health services were going to be in the school during, I don't know if it was during the school day. That was the.
I think
impression that was
I think
getting.
they're researching and trying to understand the interest level. My understanding, unofficially, is that there was a high interest level for that people would be looking for additional services. So,
I think.
Sorry, I feel like I'm
um,
coming halfway
No,
into
no,
this
no.
conversation and I just.
Yes,
Yeah.
the conversation started because Sonia had asked, I'll paraphrase or. if you want-
Rebecca,
Sonia is on Sonia just spoke.
Yeah.
Rebecca. Go ahead, love, wait, go ahead, I don't want to paraphrase.
I just had asked a question. There was the subject had come up of post-pandemic trickle effect of socialization and the children, the students, and so I asked about a survey, I guess, that had been circulated. I believe, I don't know if it was district-wide or the high school only, but
it was
regarding
district.
district level, of mental health services, as I interpreted it, during the school day within the school building, of actually signing up for these services and obtaining them or having access to them from the school, more than just their counselor, like actual mental health services. And it was like a 2-second, are you interested or are you not interested kind of thing. And then I was just asking, what was that? And is there something coming down the pike that we?
The Tracy
forward to?
Edwards.
So, yeah, I don't know if I don't want to step on Megan's, if I can't see whether she's looking to respond, but that was out of Tracy Edwards' office. And she's trying to gauge, I think the program is going to be done with coastal counseling. And I don't have any information and I don't believe it will be in the school building during school hours. It would be after school hours, offsite, not in an actual building, but please don't quote me on that. But the survey that Rebecca is referring to was from Tracy Edwards. There was an overwhelmingly positive response to that. But I think it would just, that's a sort of wait and see, stay tuned sort of situation with that.
Okay, so Coastal Connecticut Counseling is going to provide support to families who want to access that support in, I believe, in the annex or somewhere. It's in a building on campus, not one of the school buildings, is my understanding, after school hours. The 3Ws are partnering with Positive Directions, as Sonia said, and that is for like private counseling. Really, it's to support access through Positive Directions and using those connections to hopefully support reducing wait lists, right?
Right. That's what we talked about. Yeah.
And we also recognize, our needs as a school and our needs during the day as a school. So I know that there are schools in the area. I come from a school in the area that had partnered with Kids in Crisis and what we call Teen Talk, and have a Teen Talk counselor in their school that really supports students in crisis specifically. And that helps support the overall counseling suite, because when a kid is in crisis, that counselor and potentially social worker stop what they were doing for the day in terms of supporting their students and commit to that student in crisis, typically for a day plus, as we support the student, the family, and then potentially have reentry meetings the next morning to assure their kind of acclimation after that moment of crisis, or help to continue to support that student in whatever supports and services they need after that crisis or during. So there are a couple of different ways. I think we're all targeting this, and it seems like there's a lot going on. And the hope would be that we would continue to collaborate and most of all and best of all, coordinate to best support our kids.
Thank you. I think actually you're next up on the agenda, so it's a perfect segue. So thanks for coming to
Thanks
join
for
us.
having me. It's a busy day
Yeah.
here at the high school. It's our seniors' last day before they start their internships on Monday. So lots going on. I can quickly just address the email that I sent last night. I don't know if folks were able to see that, take a peek at it.
really nice.
Yeah, we did. Things happen. I always say, like, I'm in the business of teenagers, so we know that teenagers often make bad decisions. So unfortunately, we had a couple of kids, we think kids, make some bad decisions and vandalize our school. So it's super disappointing, but like I said, we had some fun yesterday with some skateboards and scooters. We even had a shopping cart. Yeah. And we can smile and laugh about those things, because when I made the announcement and I said, hey, folks, like, can't have that in our hallways. It's a safety risk and we want to keep everybody safe. I was like, sorry, Miss Work, going to put this in my car, right? Great. Like, it was awesome, really. And I think that that's a testament to our school and the kids and the families that we have here in Weston. So that was a good thing. So, like I said, these things happen. They're super disappointing, especially graffiti. I just, the acid that we're going to need to use to get it clear of our front walkway and entrance, and the tennis board, it's disappointing. Their pranks are one thing, but kind of permanent pranks are another. So I would hope that our successive classes would learn that experience. So, but moving on, our year in review. So this is my first year. It's been a really busy year. I'm very excited to come back next year. And, it's always nice, I think, when you come to a building and now everybody's names, where everybody teaches, what they teach, you get to know families and kids. And so you can
start your second year refreshed. And I always say the first year is busy. Sometimes the second year is even busier because you put these expectations on yourself. Now that you know everybody, you've kind of taken it all in. Now you're like, okay, let's get started with some really good work. So I was asked to kind of do a year in review. So I thought I would take some key things that I felt like we focused on this year and look at some successes and then talk to you about the goals that we're setting for the future. So in terms of advisory, we went from advisory kind of as needed, like as a homeroom, and at the mid-year, which is always risky, we shifted to a weekly advisory. We totally know, teachers know, kids know that advisory is a work in progress. And we've really tried to set some agendas in the spring, and we're meeting to have some clarity around those agendas and expectations. I think the greatest thing about advisory, giving the students that time every week, this week and next week, we have some extended learning time. We've had some like free game time. So it's some downtime for kids in the day. This past week, we had what we call like an extended learning time so that kids could, during advisory, go see a teacher, get a lecture, help check in, make sure they had their work in, see if they owed anything. And we were experimenting with that to see how that worked. So we're kind of piloting a couple of things in the spring and then hoping to look at how we can streamline that for next year. But one of the greatest things out of advisory is that coordination with student government, our positive behavior intervention support advisor, which we really don't have at the high school. It's really not so much of a high school thing, but we really look at Mary Faith Blank as our advisory coordinator. And she's been really great with coming up with some of our activities. And of course, Vincent Madar and Anna Belauskas as our student government advisors, and Meredith Starsig as our director of counseling, to have all of us at a table and like look at that grid and say, okay, what are our priorities? What are our needs? And then of course, Ms. Cavoni with her work on the portrait of the graduate, we've been able to say, okay, our advisory at the end of the month is portrait of the graduate. So really looking at how our system can really support the needs of the kids and how we want to make progress.
I'm going to interrupt you
yep.
1 second because this has happened before. Is everybody able to see the presentation online?
No.
See, I told you, because it's happened before.
Where go?
I did. I went to, I'm gonna
Are
go
you in
back.
Google Meet?
Yeah, I opened it and I didn't.
You have to share your
it
tab.
here. So I
You're on
go,
Zoom.
nope, I'm in Zoom now. So I'm gonna go back. Sorry, everybody. She has a nice presentation, so it's not fair.
Don't over.
It's a nice presentation. Let me go here to Google and then I will share from Google. From
But
Zoom.
you're in Zoom.
Yeah, I need to go to
Go
Zoom
to Zoom.
and then from there, why am I?
Screen
Click
share.
on. Click
Here.
on my picture. Yeah.
No, I clicked on your picture. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that, see?
Yes.
Yay, and then I'm gonna do share screen and then I'm gonna do this one. I believe
I think
that's
you
my
want to do the
screen,
one
right? The
below.
one below.
Yeah.
And then share. Does everybody see it now?
And then click on slideshow maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Yay, sorry.
Okay, great.
See, I suspected it. I had a feeling.
Great. So for next year, we're really working over the summer at the end of June to develop a clearer schedule and to really have that publicized. And then I can really depend on that in my week ahead so that families know like what's coming up in advisory and look at our monthly themes, like what are kind of our core beliefs, and then how do we name our core beliefs? So if we're starting out the September and we're saying, okay, we're really focused on the idea of integrity, or we're really focused on the idea of resilience, and have that match with some of our themes in advisory. And then I've gotten some feedback this year, how we're incorporating some of those nationally recognized or even more locally or statewide recognition of some of those months and days. And really determining which ones we can celebrate and represent in the school appropriately. I'm not saying we're going to recognize all of them, because if you're like, May is the month of a lot of things, right? So identifying October is the month of a lot of things. So really identifying how those connect to our themes for that month and, you know, and making sure that we are inclusive of all as we're doing those recognitions too, I think is really important. So that's been on my radar. And then we also, next page. Yep, next we can go to school climate. So school climate is a policy. It's a part of our board policies. And as we were talking about that, what I started, I think we had our first meeting in November, memory serves. And we put together a school, I'd asked for parent volunteers to serve on school climate. If anybody's interested next year, they can always reach out to me. It's not exclusive. We don't want to overwhelm with parent representation because we want to make sure that we have a balance of teachers and more importantly, students too. Most importantly, that students have a voice. But we establish monthly school climate meetings. Per the policy, we only have to meet twice a year, but I think it's really important to have those touch points. We were meeting twice a month and we were able just to get a sense of kind of what our needs were and to form a community around school climate. And then we were able to start meeting monthly. One of the things I have to take a look at is how we're pulling students out of class and when that school climate meeting can take place. So everyone feels like they have the capacity to serve on that committee. We've done some work of late, really developing action steps for next year. So reflecting on the feedback of teachers, families, students, and some of our need areas. So for next year, we really want to look at that school climate, those action steps, align it with the teacher feedback too, and then have that inform our school improvement plan, which we have to submit every year. And then we are going to be doing a school climate survey coming up out of pupil services. So we'll also have that data to use to look at some of those areas where we want to make some improvements. I know like the bathrooms are always a concern for students and like where are those areas? Do students know all of the areas? So some of it comes down to communication. Do kids know how they access the library or access the college and career center or the courtyards and all that? So just making sure, or the new room, which is a really cool room in the library for kids to have some downtime. So next slide. And social emotional learning and the mental health and well-being of our students is also a topic at the forefront. And we know that, you know, nationally and even internationally, this is a great concern for everyone. We're really excited. I think so some of the things around the social emotional learning is where are our moments of happiness in our day too. And really the teachers and our students in the community program, they've established their inaugural community cup, which is their coffee shop that is open now. I think we've had it a full open twice now. We had a soft open and now they are fully open. And that's been really exciting for the kids in the program, the teacher in the program who's really said like, we've been wanting to do this for so long. So it's a lot of fun and really for our teachers too, you know, to come down and take a break for the day and get a cup of coffee from students. And it's just, that's a bright moment. And I think what we want to do is keep increasing the number of bright moments we have in our days and our weeks. We had really great feedback for those of you that attended the sophomore parent coffee. We had great feedback from parents around that. So I think what we're really recognizing, as much as we do so much via Google Meet or Zoom, those in-person connections, it just allows us a different interface to really feel comfortable, like looking to each other and kind of getting some recognition around where we all kind of have a question, you know, those safe spaces to ask questions that our kids recognize too in a class. Like if a kid's sitting in a classroom, they look around and says, looks like other people are wondering too. So I'm going to take a risk and ask a question. I think sometimes that's easier to do when we're in person and a more intimate environment. So we recognize that in terms of those in-person events. We are also, what I would say, doubling down on our dialectical behavior therapy and how we're supporting students in terms of helping them develop the coping skills and strategies that we know that they need, not only in high school, but how they develop them in life. As an adult, all of that development I've had over the years with DBT has helped me not only as a school administrator, but also as a parent, and asking sometimes better questions of my own kids. So we are completing our training of all of our school counseling staff in June. And then really looking at how we can then weave that. This is where like the social emotional learning and like our advisory program really intersects. To look at how we can weave that through our advisory and our counseling programs. We are also reorganizing our pathways program and really making that a program, and which is one of the reasons why we're shifting our schedule next year. So our first 4 periods of the day are going to rotate in the first 3 blocks of time. So we have an 8-day cycle schedule. And each day 2 classes drop. So we have kids take a total of 8 classes and 6 meet a day. So we will have a rotation of morning classes and a rotation of afternoon classes. And one of the things I wanted to be really conscious of was how we provide our students in Weston access to other programs as well. So not only looking at pathways as an opportunity to create a program for students who the traditional classroom has not been as successful as we would have wanted for them. And sometimes it's just a matter of being in a different place and space and forming a better community. So having that in that morning period, we have 4 teachers that will also be in that program for the morning. Currently, teachers come in, they teach their class and they leave. So restructuring that so they are really becoming a team is pretty exciting for next year too. Going forward, I think we would love to see some peers join our community cup and really work together and also expand that into a school store, right? It's kind of like how Starbucks appears in Target, right? Yeah. Or Stop and Shop, or so look at how we can develop that. We have some students who are interested in the school store.
Hey, let's not panic, everyone.
We're
She said it's running low. It's not.
Yeah.
not panicked. Right.
Just solving the problem.
So looking at that, we're going to reflect on, like I said, our school climate surveys to inform our future programs as well. We're always program minded. And we've talked about it with the PTO over the year. And if you've been reading the week aheads, you know, I really like the research and resources of Challenge Success and looking to partner with Challenge Success in their research for staff PD to support our students and also to inform parents. We're really excited.
Is that the program that you went into a lot of detail at one of our
Yes,
executive meetings?
yeah, I think I shared a
Oh,
video.
long-term
right?
plan. It was a
Yeah.
long-term plan.
Yeah, I think I shared a video.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Challenge Success.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So we have a teacher here that has some experience with Challenge Success from a previous district, which is really great. And Meredith Starsick and I had a call with them to look at like kind of what our thinking is and the needs of Weston High School and how they could support us. And we know that based on our conversations, the PTO has been very supportive of that as well, which is great. So we can go to Link Crew. Sorry if I'm going.
No,
Okay.
Just on the Challenge Success, we've
Yeah.
been cross-sharing the information on their upcoming free and nominal fee webinars. And there are 2 recordings that were posted in the last newsletter. So if anybody wants to refer back and watch one of these, they're fantastic. A lot of what they offer online right now is free.
Mhm.
There's another one coming up for $29. They're really great though. So if you have, I know nobody has any time right now, but if you do have time, they're up, I think until the roughly end of May. If you want to watch any of these videos, they're great. Even if you want to just listen in the background while you're
Yeah.
cooking dinner or something one night. So
It's funny, they happen on Wednesdays and Wednesdays I'm always going from basketball to field hockey to basketball, right? So my son, who's a 7th grader, will get in the car and he goes, this again? I'm like, maybe you'll learn something too. Let's listen together. Yeah. So we're excited to bring Link Crew to Weston High School. So Link Crew is a transition program to support the transition for our students from 8th to 9th grade. We know that that is a super tough transition. The data out there would even tell us that that transition is harder for kids than their transition from high school to college. So we really want to make sure as students transition to the high school, even though we're a small town with 4 schools on one campus, that step from 8th grade to 9th grade, coming from a team environment where they're on team in middle school, they're supported, and going to that next step and that independence in high school can be a shock to the system. When I spoke to 8th grade parents at our Rising Freshman Forum, it was one of those conversations of don't let go yet. right? But we want to like be watchful, be mindful and guide them and let them make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes and that's okay. But Link Crew is another support for our rising ninth graders. So when they come up in their advisory, they will be supported by 2 upper class Link Crew leaders, which we think is going to be really great. So we have 2 teachers, Miss Matera Arcamone and Miss Roll, who are going to be our Link Crew advisors. They are working with Mr. Phillip, one of our assistant principals. They have already gathered applications. So we had 47 applicants for 38 Link Crew positions, and they are culling those and reviewing them. And we are going to develop a fantastic, it's our goal. This is going to be our first year with our 4-hour ninth grade orientation program. So more details to come. And then that's going to be a thread throughout our ninth grade advisory program. We think it's really great when our upper class students are supporting our ninth graders because they become like they see them. There's that summer orientation. They reach out to the ninth graders over the summer, before school starts. So it's always nice when ninth graders can come in and walk through the halls and say, oh, I know that person, right? And they get a little wave or like, yeah. So we're excited about that. So I feel like that's a big thing. And our communication, I think I'm really proud of the communication we tried to foster this year in terms of the week ahead. This is a busy season, so sometimes they get out later than I intended to lately, but and really partnering, I feel like for community events, I can help support community events in our week ahead and just keep those lines of communication open. I think the bi-weekly coming to the PTO meetings have been really helpful to me. And I hope you feel the same way in terms of the partnership with the school. And just really hoping for next year to create those grade level expectations like we've talked about. So our student government advisors, we're recognizing that like within the school and really looking at what are our ninth grade events, what are our 10th grade, 11th and 12th, so that they could say, our 12th graders are going to loop back likely advisor. So it's like, that's 4 years is a lot of time to go by, or 3 years since the last time you were sometimes an advisor. So having that format to say, oh, right, this is what we do for ninth graders. And also just making sure that we're aligning our staff and our students and everyone on what our common expectations are. And so that's some of the work that we did at a faculty meeting last week. And we're going to continue to do with the support of Challenge Success. I think I really enjoyed some of the feedback I get from Challenge Success to be sure that our expectations are clear, how we're sharing them, et cetera, et cetera.
I was going to mention that we plan to do some more with all the projections you've made for what will be initiatives, so we can align our support. So we'll have a calendar of what the PTO activities will be in advance of next year, and we'll be able to streamline our communication from the PTO about what initiatives we need our volunteers at and what financial aid we would like to commit to supporting. I'm excited to get that all ironed out because we piloted a lot of things this year. Yes.
I think it'll be great too, once we kind of meet as a school and determine what those activities are and work with student government, that we can almost get to a place where like we're blending that. So because there's so much that I know student government might ask the PTO in terms of like the spirit support and some of those activities. So when we all know, it helps bring everyone's kind of level of worry down a little too, which is nice. Yes. So that is the year in a nutshell. I know I did not talk about a lot of, well, I didn't really talk about academics. I mean, we have a thriving academic program here at Weston High School. We're a small school. We offer 23 AP classes. We have a Project Lead the Way program. And I think that the areas I focus on are the areas that we should be focused on, because our academics are stellar. And what we really have to do is make sure that when kids are accessing the academics, they're doing it in a balanced way that is appropriate for them. And there are students who can take umpteen AP classes and be super successful and not stressed. And we want to make sure that everyone is taking the appropriate schedule that works for them, and that everyone knows whatever that is and whatever that looks like, there is also a really successful place and opportunity for them post high school, because we know that, like, the data tells us that, and we just have to keep reinforcing that with kids. And all of these plans will help us to do that. support that narrative.
I'm sorry, I won't be here next year to see all these great things.
You can be watching from.
I will, I'm sure I'll be staying in touch with Christine and, but no, it sounds really exciting.
I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you and having you come on board as our high school principal. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, and I
feel the same way.
cannot wait as
Casey.
Christina said, for next year. Oh, Christina, I'm sorry.
Casey put a little
Casey?
harsh, but it went away and.
Oh, okay.
It was cute. It was cute.
But really, it's been fantastic, and I think you brought a lot of positive energy and just I can't even put it into 2 words, but we're really
Hey, Jeremy,
delighted
be crying.
to know you.
All right.
And have you.
A lot of work and a lot of fun. Thank you for all. My goal is also to get to more after school stuff next year, but.
While you're driving to hockey and basketball and.
I need to hire a driver. I know. Yeah, if you went to the concerts this week too.
heard
I
they were
missed
great.
band because it was my son's orchestra concert, but I mean, it's phenomenal. And that's the other, we are a small community and those concerts, everything, it blows me away, the talent that we have at
Yeah,
Weston
the
High School.
choir last night was great.
Oh my gosh, I know.
It's really good.
That Rivers and
Yeah.
Roads. The head, I love the Head and the Heart. So that was
I
very
sent you a note up there. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Casey.
Thanks for everything.
It's been really great. So thanks. And just thank you for welcoming me. It's just been such a warm welcome and I've really appreciated everybody's support this year and I'm so excited for next year. It's awesome.
Another message.
We still have 5 weeks to go.
I did say no to the slip and slide today in case that gets back.
Oh, it's in here, but the slip and slide.
For me,
I just asked them,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah,
Phil,
do you have time?
do you have time for a
some
couple?
questions?
Sure. So to the point about monthly, like this is the month of this. So this is Mental Health Awareness
Mhm.
Month. Is the high school doing anything?
Not this month.
No?
Nope. That's why I put it in the goals. We just did not have the capacity. I mean, I feel like we've been focused on mental health all year. And that's where we have to build, take in some ideas and
Okay,
build some programming around them.
okay.
It's clearly you've woven.
It's our-
mental
I mean,
health
it's been our
throughout,
focus.
right?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I understand
Yeah.
that. I think when, like, because you and I last year worked on like something to do for autism, you know.
Yeah.
It just highlights it in a more visible and direct way.
Yeah.
That's a known,
yeah.
which is why,
Right, no, I understand.
yep.
And part of why it came up to me is I got a call from a group that's doing something at Barlow. And so I thought, oh, I wonder if we're doing anything. with
Nope,
so-
not this year.
Okay.
We've got a lot on our plate. this
No, I
year.
understand. The other question I had, if this is, it's actually not a question, it's more a comment for you.
Mhm.
Has to do with feedback for sports at the end of each season.
Mhm.
I've had a number of parents talk to me that they feel it's a waste of time
Mhm.
because nothing comes of it. So they'll see the same things happen year after year. So I don't know if you read those. I know Burke does, but I think people are unsatisfied with him only reading it and wanted to make sure that you're reading the comments. So that's just a takeaway
Could you
for maybe
provide
next
more
year.
context?
Question, yeah.
At the end of each
Survey.
season, parents get a survey to fill out for their
I see. Okay,
student athletes.
okay.
And it's a whole bunch of questions
Right.
from,
In
are you
regards to the
satisfied with the
athletic
dues? Like, yeah,
I see,
right.
I see.
Are you
I would
satisfied
say
with the
if parents
dues?
have concerns and they've reached out to Athletic Director Berkowitz, then their next step is they can reach out to me.
So you don't read those surveys, it's just the
That's-
athletic director?
Right.
Okay.
I have read some. I'm not saying I haven't read any of them. I have read some.
And
that
I'm
goes
just saying
back
their
to-
suggestion is that you read them because some
Okay.
people are not comfortable just coming directly to you. But I'll reinforce that because they should feel comfortable doing that. But anyway, that was,
Okay.
On that
Your
note,
question.
that goes back to the communications chart that
Right.
Megan's been promoting. If parents at any point in time have concerns, they really should have a look at that communications flow chart. It's pretty simple to use, whether you're dealing with
Right.
busing
Mhm.
or attendance, sports. It tells you exactly who to go to and how
And
to
their
raise it.
number, I think we put their number.
Yeah,
And I sincerely hope parents don't get to the point where they're uncomfortable contacting anybody on that chart. They shouldn't feel that way, because I have come to know the team here, and especially Megan this year. It's open door, open phone. They are happy to speak directly to parents. Megan is happy to hear the hard stuff, whatever it is. Megan will speak directly to parents.
I have a
People should not
question.
shy away from that.
There used to be, and maybe there still is, a 24-hour.
There is, it's called admin alert. It's like a 24/7.
And then who does that apply to? Administration, teachers?
she's talking about the policy that if you reach out to someone in the school, they have to get back to you in 24 hours.
Is it 24 or 48?
Maybe it's 48. I just remember that always being told to us, back in the lower grades, and it was followed. And I just, I've talked to other people too. There are situations where you don't hear back sometimes. So I didn't know if it was not really an official policy at the high school, or.
Our hope is that we are responding to emails within 48 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. I can tell you this week, I'm gonna fall on my sword for me this week. I really, unless there were another 5 hours added to my days this week, I have not had, between concerts, interviews and everything. It's sometimes I think we would love the grace of saying, like, I know that teachers are in their classrooms all day, teachers are grading, they're planning, and I would hope that another email would be sent maybe and just say, hey, sorry if this fell to the back of your email, or maybe you missed this, right? Just the assumption that there isn't an intent in someone not returning. It's just Adam Grant wrote, who's an organizational psychologist, wrote a little thing about it. Like, maybe if our expectation wasn't like, oh, someone's not responding to me, I'm gonna get frustrated. Maybe it's in that moment we can just reflect and say, man, that job is really hard and they have a lot going on. We're wrapping up the year and I'm gonna give some grace, but just also maybe send just a quick email. Hey, just in case you missed my first one, right? Or something like that. We would really appreciate that. But it really is the expectation. But I think we also know when things get really busy, sometimes.
Yeah,
we can't
no,
even-
of course.
Yeah.
We definitely,
Yeah.
Understand that, but I thought it was like an actual policy.
I feel like I've read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to go look at the
But I had
policies. to
Yeah.
know if
that
it's a
said,
policy.
in
Yeah.
recent years.
Yeah.
Totally understand that,
Yeah.
people get.
I can look at the
emailed,
policy.
They're so busy, but, sometimes there is not a response even to, additional emails, so
Yeah.
I just didn't know, it was. like a-
So in
an official
the
thing.
communication protocol, if you're not getting a response from an additional email, you would go to the next level, which is the curriculum instructional leader. And they would help support your communication with the teacher. If that goes unresponded, then you would go to the assistant principal, and then if that goes, then it would come to me.
Okay.
But really, if we're concerned about things going on in the classroom or homework or assessments, your best, even if it were to come to me, I'm gonna loop you back to the teacher, right? So that's
But
just. the
sometimes
right
when
place
you
to
do
start.
that, it gets immediately responded to, just so you know.
I know.
You've helped me, and it just like.
I
next
know, and then there goes my inbox, and that's why I can't respond in 48 hours. I'm staring down 300 emails right now, so, yeah. But it's helpful, and everyone wants to be supportive, and I think, even in terms of athletics, that's why we have an athletic director, that's why we have assistant principals, that's what, right, the system is designed that way for a reason, because
It can't all go.
I need to sleep. Raise some children. Yeah.
What, you have a life outside? of school?
Not really, actually, just work there.
Thank you so much again, Megan.
Any other questions?
I do have a quick
Yep.
one. When my older son was a freshman, we used to get the monthly, maybe a quarterly newsletters from the guidance department telling us what was happening with each level.
Yep.
And it was so informative, just saying, oh, wow, these schools are coming to interview kids and, oh, we gotta, at this point, they're gonna have to prepare. We've only received 2 this year.
Yes, that is true. I should have actually put that in something that we've talked about. And so that's another consistent practice and working on the counseling website as well to make
Okay.
sure that that's really robust and a reflection. I think there we really want to honor the work that's being done because we know good work is being done and we're not sharing it,
Communicating.
right? And so when it's not shared, the assumption is that it's not happening.
Mhm.
And so we really want to resolve that. I know that there is a desire to have more newsletters and whether that's making better use of the website or it's sending the actual newsletters. We are also, I should have actually put this on there too. We are sunsetting Naviance. So we didn't go into it a lot, I think at the sophomore parent copy, and we didn't really reference it even at the Rising Freshman Forum or talk too much to it. We are onboarding School Links, which is a very similar program. We actually think it's more robust and really user friendly. There's some gamification to some of those surveys, like the swipe, for like career interest inventories. It's like, if you like this, swipe right, if you don't, swipe left, like those things, which we think are, friendlier towards kids to get them to complete those types of activities. And so the things like which schools might be coming to visit, which you wouldn't be doing as a freshman, you'd be doing that as an older student. But which schools are coming, that will be accessible through Schoolings. And we do think it is a better program. It's also going to help us with our senior internship program. So it has a lot of benefits that Naviance didn't have.
Is that for next fall?
That's for next fall. Yeah, so our counselors are being trained in June. Counseling has a lot going on right now. They're working on their website. We're recognizing the newsletters. They're onboarding School Links. We have counselors going to get trained so we can complete that training for our counseling department in dialectical behavior therapy. So we're really looking at good things.
Casey had a question. Will the historical information on Weston grads port over?
Yeah, Meredith is working we're working with another school in Connecticut to look at how they have transitioned from Naviance to School Links. So like using how they've been through it once, yeah. To look at how that information, I don't know how they're doing it necessarily, if that grads are I don't believe they're gonna access School Links, but how we're kind of housing that data.
Can I ask, I'm sure there's a plan, but what is this going to look like to the selfishly, the class of 2024, especially who has had Naviance as their tool in the beginning of their college
Yep.
exploration?
Everything is getting imported.
Will it be a very different kind of program? I mean, I know they're all tech savvy, but
It's different and better.
Okay.
So to me, it's more intuitive
mm,
and user friendly. So I actually think they might use it more,
Yeah.
right? And that would be the hope. And of course, we're gonna, part of advisory and our meetings with them, we will review it and they'll be trained.
Casey, were you, when you said the historical information, were you thinking about all the data from who's applied and who's gotten in that we can see on the scattergrams? Is that,
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I was talking about. Thank you.
Yeah. okay,
Yeah.
yeah, they talked about that for those who were at the freshman coffee. They did talk sophomore coffee. Sorry, they talk more about that. The scattergrams and all that data would be
I
available.
thought the
We
scattergrams,
need the data, so, yeah.
yeah, the scattergrams.
And they
great.
also mentioned at that meeting, which I thought was strategic, that whatever would be repetitive, so to speak, if they did it in Naviance as you transition to School Links, they kind of didn't do it this year, so that they don't have to redo it next year, and they're just gonna kind of introduce the new software with whatever needs to be done, so the kids are not reworking and doing things. So it was a less active Naviance year on purpose in order to make the transition easier for the students, right?
Mhm. And I want to comment more than a question, just for Megan and the counseling department. Thank you for doing that sophomore coffee. It was perfectly timed. It's the end of the year. We're all gearing our heads up with our sophomores for junior year and what this college journey process will be like. It was fantastic. This room,
I didn't do it in front of him.
this room was full of lighthearted, well, maybe not always lighthearted, but parents. You know, it's a heavy time, you know, they were looking towards the future. It was great to have our peers in the room with your counseling department. Your counseling department is fantastic. It was so lovely to meet them in person. They're vibrant, caring, bright people, and it just reassuring to parents who haven't had the opportunity to meet your team, to actually see them face to face. And so a little bit of a sigh of relief, I think, you know, oh, wow,
Sure.
okay, everything's actually really awesome at the high
Yeah,
school.
and I
Sure, we've got a
also
great
want
team.
everyone to remember that when you do meet with the, our college counselor or your student's school counselor, they are working from data sets, and the data is not intended to dissuade necessarily. It is intended to inform, right? So we don't manipulate the data. Like, it is what it is. This is how many students got into this college. This is the demographic information related to the students who are accepted. These are the kind of regional numbers. And you with your children have to make an informed decision about what your list looks like, right? And I would never want my own kids to create a list of all reaches, because that's why you have a season of disappointment, right? And who wants a season of disappointment? So just, they know what they're doing. They really do. And listen to them. Listen, please. And listen to your kids. That's what I said at the sophomore parent coffee.
Did you want to bring up the sophomore, the prom thing, or do you want to leave it?
Well, I don't know if it matters for this year. Next, we were just talking about the, I'll be quick, but the fact that you don't need to go with the date to prom, and we've been promoting that, and we want them just to go, but there's been a lot of talk of just go with the group, and what we're hearing back, especially in the junior class, is, well, not everyone has a group, and that's been a little bit more pressure for them. And maybe next year there's a way just to get kids to go, that we could have like a bus that they pay for individually, but from the school campus, so kids who don't have a group to go with before aren't going alone, because we're hearing a lot from like individual kids who are like, oh, I want to try something new, but they don't have necessarily a posse to go with. So we couldn't pull it together for this year, something we were thinking about in the future, or how to solve for it. I don't know if that's the answer, but
I don't know that that's the answer, but we can talk more about it.
And then we also talked about like maybe a student government liaison position, which would be someone who gets that inclusivity of the kids who are not in these groups, so community class, whatever, kids who just feel socially that they're not in these groups that feel comfortable.
This had come up before you joined us. We had a little bit of a extended conversation off of, I think, the ADAP Evergreen talk. That, there's always historically in Weston been kids who go as couples, kids who go in groups, and then people who might not want to go on their own, who go on their own, but we feel that there's a kind of a post-pandemic ripple-on effect on certain grades where kids went through that time where they were going through puberty and starting high school behind masks and stuff. So it was something parents have come to the junior parent reps with as a concern. We're all just looking for a way to help, obviously, and I think we'd said when we were talking that it would be great if it was student government led. And we'd be happy to stand by as the PTO and help, whether it's facilitate but obviously, it needs more discussion.
I think I'm gonna think about this. I would say my initial thought is, let's get some of those kids connected earlier.
right.
So when we talk about
100%.
those clubs, and that's the intention of Link Crew, I hear you for next year, and we can talk about that. But we can't solve all the problems, right? And I think that that's something, as they age into high school, we really have to be mindful of when we're robbing students of kind of that resilience and perseverance even in those social moments, which is different from there are differences. I really want to work with Link Crew as time goes on to make sure, that connection piece is so important. And it doesn't mean you need to be connected to a group. I say to kids all the time, I say to my children all the time, the friends you have in your freshman year may not be the friends you have in your senior year. And that's not a bad thing, right? Because we're all growing, we're all developing, we're learning. Some kids come and sports are their things. Other kids come and robotics are their thing, or project lead the way, or company and theater. And what we really want to make sure is that students know all of the options that are available, make sure they know which room the club meets in. So whether it's green team or anime or, you know, whatever it is that we help kids to find their people. And but we can talk more
And
about,
yeah, I think that's great,
yeah,
and that is the
yeah.
song, our juniors.
Yes,
were in
it's
the
different. I know,
pandemic, so
I
it
know.
is
That's why
different
we'll
for
talk
them.
more about that.
Yeah, and it was just the idea of course, we all want the student led, like we do too, and
Yeah.
that's really like, I'd rather hear from a student than parent,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's right, but that's not the reality for the actual subset of kids that we're talking about. Those kids aren't the ones who are coming forward and able to do something, so what do we do for them?
Yeah.
I think that kind of falls in line with the question I have is our students surveyed like the end of the year about like their experiences about the school building or about where they can provide input. Maybe that's along the lines of school climate. I just wonder, you know, because I have a freshman and he's had a great experience, but you know, I wonder, like, you can't really know that maybe teachers survey their classes, but our students surveyed about just the overall facility or overall experience. Is that a thing?
There is going to be, I think that coming out of pupil services, they're going to communicate. I think I'll double check. We are doing a school climate survey to students, and parents, students, parents and staff.
And are there touch points about maybe focusing on that junior class that was a pandemic class, like about, like, what are the topics? Is it social emotional facilities? Like, does it cover a wide spectrum or is it kind of focused on? I know that they were surveyed for like drug and
That was a
alcohol
different,
abuse.
yeah.
But
That was
is this-
that was a two-part
This is a
survey.
broader survey to
Okay.
like have an overall understanding of the school climate. I think that that's what we're talking about there is probably a more specific,
Discussion.
well, and maybe like survey, like, do
Yeah.
you want to go to prom and do you not feel like you?
Or are there
can,
other programs that you would wish you had here, but it's not available? You know, or something like that,
Yeah.
because maybe, you know, Weston High School has this wide array and kids know it, but it just doesn't fit their personality. And maybe that's what's the missing for that junior class. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can see. I mean, every time you add a club, you add a program, then you have to think about supervision, then you have to think
Right.
about an advisor, and everything it's also has a budget implication,
Yeah.
right? So I think to our conversation, you know, this year, we had some discovery around Circle of Friends, right? And we talked about best buddies, but when we did some digging and then it became more about communication and like really determining like, and then linking, like, what's the connection between best buddies and unified sports, right? And so, or are there some kids that don't know that we have an esports team and so, right? So I think that it really goes back to communication and making sure with our new website, that our website is robust as it can be. We have a school activities site. Does it tell kids, you know, where the club meets? Does it tell kids who, things like that, so that it can like help access? But I hear you about prom too and the juniors.
Maybe just, you know, along the lines of that, maybe it's like the messaging, like every student has a place here.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like a board or some motto or something. And if you don't know where your place is, let us help you find it.
Yeah.
So then you.
I like that,
Smart,
Mona.
Yeah.
Like
that
to
too.
catch it, like,
like
yeah,
that
to
too.
know along what you're saying, just something to,
Every
Like
student
that
has a
branding.
place here. I like that.
something,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, that's really good. All right. Any other questions or comments? We're just a few minutes over our scheduled time. I'm happy to take any more questions. All right, well. Right at home, anything, nobody's got their hands raised. Well, thank you. for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for
Great
coming.
end of the year. Nice things.
Sorry. He doesn't have anything to record. He was texting with Andrew.
Yeah, there
We
was a
didn't-
board of education meeting this week, it's next week.
Right, right. So the timing doesn't work
Thank you.
for this to cover it. So thank you for being here and thanks for highlighting that. Thank you everybody for coming. Please everybody go to weston5k.com and sign up to run the race, or to volunteer, or to donate, or to sponsor. All are appreciated in whatever way you can. Sign up to volunteer. I'm gonna say again, please go to weston5k.com. Can I sell it some more? We love you all to participate. It's a great day. It's a lot of fun. It's our next and biggest thing of the year at Weston High School PTO. Another quick last thing, quick shout out to our staff appreciation chairs, Tammy Roberts and Lisa Zong, who have done a great job with preparing and setting up a fantastic staff appreciation.
What
week.
actually did they do?
So this week we had 3 amazing days. Okay, okay.
Thank you, everybody.
I don't know how to stop that.
Just
Okay,
here in this little square.
okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Staff appreciation week, we had a trail mix bar set up beautifully. We'll be posting photos of all of this on our newsletter that comes out on Tuesday. As well as a lunch on Wednesday. Beautiful lunch spread. Again, we'll be sharing photos. It was offered in the staff lounge, as was the trail mix bar, sort of build your own. There are all sorts of different healthy and less healthy items to throw together. Beautifully put together by our staff appreciation team. And today there's a truck called Ice Cream Emergency coming, where our teachers and staff during the lunch times can hop on board and build their own Mondays. It's a lot of fun, a little something outside the normal box of formal luncheons and all that. So it's a bit of fun, it's something exciting and a real treat. So again, many thanks to Tammy Roberts and Lisa Zong, who have pulled us all together and done a really fantastic job. And I think that's it for our meeting today. This concludes the May the 12th general board meeting of the Weston High School PTO. Thanks again to everybody. Thanks for our nominations team, Christina for preparing our slate for next year, and the entire board. Rebecca's here and everybody else who's not here. Thank you for that. We've had a great year. We're in great shape for next year, and all your efforts are really appreciated. And I'll jump onto Joanne's computer and log us all off and wish you all a wonderful weekend and a great rest of the year.
And happy Mother's Day.
Oh, and happy Mother's Day. And Father's Day, because we won't see you before then.
Oh, true.
Thank you.
Okay, so I sent that off to Sam. Hopefully she'll get it.
Okay. At the end, I think the end.
Yeah, just end.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Yep.
So